In Left 4 Dead 2, there was actually plenty of survival maps that go unused in the game. So if you want to take a shot of nostalgia, there's actually many ways to break any survival map by going outside of this. There's actually many cut survival maps that didn't end up making the final version of Left 4 Dead 2. Yet these maps were technically coded to be in the game due to the files actually allowing there to be a survival area in the map. So these range from using the grenade launcher glitch to travel outside of a map, and then going to the safe room, traveling outside to the next safe room. Voila, you restart the map and now you have a cut survival map that you can play. It is really strange, but if you understand how this works, you actually are viewing a lot of cut content. Not every single cut survival map can be viewed this way, but if you don't have the PC version, this was actually the only way you could do it, was by doing these exploits. Otherwise, you're going to be like everyone else and just type it into console, okay? Now these maps are interesting because they are most likely cut for specific reasons, as some of them even got reintroduced years later. Dark Carnival Map 3 is probably one of the most interesting lost survival maps in the game, as you could actually be able to play through it, getting all the way to the safe room and at the very end going to map 2. Yes, if you make this walk all the way to the safe room, you'll notice there's actually no zombies spawning. That's literally because they're obviously not allowed to spawn because there's no survival map in this. But again, you make your way all the way to the safe room, and then voila, now this is when you hit the restart button, so the map will pull you in the correct spawn location. And this is actually how the glitch works. It's actually insanely cool, and this can be done by essentially forcing the game to load the survival map as well. This is what most people are probably going to do if they do it on the PC version. The map is actually one of the largest survival maps that would have been in the game, and it's probably one of the only official survival maps that has phases to it. And you begin with just tier 1 weapons. And again, this is not something you ever really get in a survival map. And keep making your way down the tracks, and eventually you'll make it to the dead end, where you're most likely going to hold out due to a lot of supplies being there. I actually am really sad that this was actually cut, as how unique of an idea this was as a survival map, and it would have been actually cool for an official survival map to be this dynamic. You know, obviously most of them have you just standing in the same place the whole time, so the fact you get to move a little bit I actually like a lot. However, the reason why this was most likely cut was there is a lot of skips and exploits on this map. Some of these would be patched out in later updates, but you could actually scale the coaster by just jumping on the wood planks, and you can make your way up to the very top. You could technically get out of the map really easily. They probably figured that out while making it, with just the amount of exploits that would have been there. I mean, I could imagine you skipping certain aspects of the panic event as being one of the clear ways that would have probably messed up the balance quite a bit, as this is a pretty dynamic event, and if you're able to skip parts of it, that definitely changes its balance. Yeah, if you're just camping in one spot the whole time, it'd probably be really easy to just get a gold medal on this one. Swamp Fever Map 3 was another cut survival map. Similar to the other maps I mentioned, you could actually use grenade launcher exploits on map 1 to make it all the way to map 2, and then map 3, restart, voila, you're in a brand new survival map. Or again, console commands. Now this panic event is another fully finished event taking place near the boardwalk panic event. And this is actually one of my least favorite maps in the whole game. It's just super boring. It is not a fun panic event because it's just, the board moves and somehow zombies come. It's very boring. Move once it opens and then you have access to more areas of the map. And again, it's pretty rare for an official Valve survival map to look like this, as most of the time you're going to start with everything already out. This survival map I don't think is that interesting, but it's most likely because the actual panic event is based off of is just not that good. And I don't know why it was cut, but there probably was exploits to, you know, get out of certain areas and to skip aspects of this panic event, like going around the boardwalks or even holding in God spots, so maybe that was why it was cut. I just think this location is probably one of the weakest panic events in the game too, so maybe that contributed to it. Your guess is as good as mine.
This video is sponsored by ENEBA. ENEBA.com is a gaming marketplace with over 40,000 digital products and is continuously expanding to become your go-to platform for your gaming needs. ENEBA.com offers the hottest deals on any title, old or new. There's discounts for games like Red Dead Redemption 2 to Minecraft to Mario Odyssey, Fortnite. They really care about customer satisfaction by offering 24/7 live support to resolve any concerns regarding a purchase. Whether you're a PC gamer or you prefer consoles, ENEBA has you covered. Use the link down below to get started with ENEBA.
Hard Rain Map 3 was another cut survival map, as this would have taken place in the exact same location as the previous map. So if you were living under a rock, Hard Rain reuses the same maps on its second half, but with rain. So the map is literally a copy of the previous survival maps, but with water, and it's actually pretty redundant. but I don't know, whatever. It's not the only time Valve has done redundant maps before. Although this version would have been harder as, oh god, pun intended there. It would have been more difficult because there is actually water on this element of the map and it would have made you slower. Hard Rain Map 5 was following in a similar formula, as this was a copy of Map 1's survival map, the Burger Tank. Again, taking place with just water everywhere. Obviously this would have been harder because water slowing down the survivors makes it a lot more difficult. It has the exact same weapon spawns and health as the previous map. I think this is exactly why this was probably cut, as the map was probably just really redundant. I think the rain variants aren't really needed that much, so it is what it is. But hey, you can actually view these survival maps with some grenade launcher exploits as well. The final one that we're going to be talking about is another favorite of mine. It is Parish Map 4, and this takes place on the very iconic panic event on this map, the Float. And this will also unlock extended versions of this map where you can camp and get more items. Again, pretty dynamic for a level to do this. The skips in order to get to this map on the Xbox version are actually a lot harder. I don't think I've ever performed them, but I think they were possible to do with a bile jar and getting on and shimming your way on an invisible wall. I don't think I ever did it. I most likely did it with a console command because, yeah, it just got way too complicated. But in the older updates of Left 4 Dead 2, you technically could go on the parade float early, and that was maybe a contributing factor on why this was cut. This is probably one of my favorites out of all of the cut survival maps, as it feels the closest to being complete. It just felt unfortunate that none of these survival maps made the final game. But there's actually a happy ending here. Map 4 actually got revived into being in the Last Stand update, and they had one of the goals of adding more survival maps. And they did something smart, and they actually changed the location of this event as the previous panic event. It actually is a really smart way to revive this cut idea by making it a new location. And assuming Map 5 of Hard Rain didn't get the same level of love because the map is just so tiny, it just makes sense why they would want to make an alternate area out of this. There's actually a bit of a happy ending here, as Map 3 of Swamp Fever actually got revived in the Last Stand update, and actually one of the goals of this update was to add a lot more survival maps to the game, and they obviously did. Hard Rain Map 3 was one of them that was brought back, but they did something smart and they changed the location of the event, which keeps it from feeling the same as the campaign version is. It's a smart way to try to revive the idea but change the location, and I'm assuming Map 5 didn't get this same level of love because this map is tiny, but there's actually just already a similar location. They finally brought back Parish Map 4, and I always stated that this was probably the most complete feeling survival maps out of all of them, and the fact that it actually returned is a blessing to my eyes because I'm glad they actually gave it a chance and they gave it an official release. Really, this leaves Dark Carnival Map 3 as still being cut to this day because of the crazy amounts of exploits. Even though most of them have been patched out, it's still a lot harder to do some of these, but this is still, you know, a pretty exploit heavy area. Even if you know the exploits to this day, they definitely exist. So it's unfortunate that this one still hasn't been brought forward. But as far as the Last Stand update goes, they brought a lot of stuff that was on the cutting room floor, and because otherwise most people probably would not have viewed any of this stuff. There's really just a lot of nostalgia to these out of map exploits, as I'm sure a lot of you have done them back in the day, and they really just bring a nostalgic tear to my eyes. So many survival maps that were in Left 4 Dead 1 that obviously we're not in Left 4 Dead 2, and many people were actually playing Left 4 Dead 1 just to experience those survival maps, and a lot of those things actually got brought forward, which is actually really cool to see. That was one of the clear things that they did with that update, was to try to focus on survival and bring over a lot of content. Not only that, but they even added some new ones too here and there, which I also really like for example for Cold Stream even. Alright you guys, that is the video. Thank you for watching. There's channel memberships down below if you guys want to get the videos early. Thank you for supporting the channel. Take care. Also, if you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much. Alright, take care everybody.